Hello everyone, I'm teacher Winnie. Today we will discuss on Physics SPM Trial 2022 Negeri Sembilan paper for paper 2. So first question is from Form 5 chapter 7 Quantum Physics regarding the quantum theory. So let's look at the first part. Diagram 1 show part of electromagnetic spectrum. Tick for the correct answer in the box provided. The type of spectrum shown in this diagram 1 is continuous spectrum or line spectrum. So as you can see that they have individual line. Basically, if there is color, they will actually show different color on this spectrum lah. So this is what we call it as line spectrum. If it is a continuous spectrum, that means they will not have like individual line. They will just have the 7 color continuously. Okay, then move on. Name the physical quantity that represent by the arrow. That means this part. Okay, since they also give you the symbol is lambda, right? So lambda is basically wavelength. Okay, next one. Underline the correct answer on the statement below. Beside Max Planck and Albert Einstein, who is also one of the physicists who introduced the idea of quantum theory. So for your information, quantum theory or quantum means the energy in a packet form. That means they are not continuous. Okay, so and this idea is kind of new also. Is totally different from classical physics. Okay, so therefore, over here you have Isaac Newton or Louis de Broglie. So the answer is basically Louis de Broglie. Okay, because Isaac Newton is on the Newtonian mechanic team idea one. Okay, next, what happened to the photon energy if the frequency of light increases? So under this topic, you should know that photon energy is also equals to hf, where h is the Planck constant. So what should be the relationship between E and F? So based on what you see, basically, the moment if your frequency of light increases, the energy also increases. So this is how it works lah. Okay, therefore your answer will be increases, just right like that. Question 2. Question 2 is from 5, electronic topic on electron. Diagram 2.1 shows a deflection tube used to observe the property of electron or cathode ray with a 6,000 volt extra high tension power supply, or short form EHT. First, what is the meaning of cathode ray? Okay, so basically from this diagram, they actually miss out a little, a small part lah in between, whereby they will have this cathode and anode, cathode and anode. They also connect to this high tension power one. Okay, so what is happening for your understanding? Okay, this is a vacuum tube. Okay, and extended from it, if you want to see the property of electron, you can add on like a brown bottom flash that become, then you add two plate again to create an electric field, or you add a Maltese cross. So basically for this diagram, right, they shouldn't write Maltese cross, okay, because this is to test the deflections of the electron. So it's actually called deflection tube, okay, deflection tube. So how does it work is, first, you need this small power supply, okay? This small power supply is basically connected to filament, okay? Connect to filament. And when you heat up the filament, there will be electrons being produced on the cathode part, right? The cathode, the metal, they actually release electron, or we say this process as thermionic emission. Then what happened is, if you were to have a high electric field in between here, so this electron will actually accelerate. When this electron accelerate, we say it is a high beam of electrons. So this high beam of electron have a name where we call it as cathode ray. So what is cathode ray? Cathode ray is basically fast moving beams of electrons. Okay, now then next idea is if you want to see whether the electrons is being deflected by the deflection tube or not. Again, let's say you connect this part now, you have either positive on top or negative on top, depending on the connections. So then if let's say this is positive, then this electron will deflect upward because electron is negatively charged, so it will move to the positive. Now, if you were to have the Maltese cross, then it will block by this Maltese cross and produce shadow. And then if you were to use Fleming left hand rule, you will be able to notice the shadow will actually shift up or down depending on how you place your magnet towards the north towards or away. Okay, so this is the whole idea under the first topic, but then we are more focused on the calculation part of C part B. Calculate the electrical energy possessed by each electron. So like teacher mentioned, okay, when you have this electron on this cathode, right? So basically this electron will be attracted to the anode, okay, and with a high tension. So when you are calculating the electrical energy, right? So there is a formula one. This formula is called EV, where this E is the charge for one electron, V is the voltage of EHT. It must be from EHT, not the low power supply, because the low power supply is for what? Is to produce electron, is for thermionic emission to occur. So you all must be careful. Let's say a calculation question, and then they give you this voltage example. This is a 6 volt, and then this one is like now they give you 6,000. So you do not use the wrong voltage. Okay, so hence, since teacher already explained, now you know already. Okay, so by right, if you forgot the charge for one electron, they're supposed to be in the formula list. Okay, so you can refer the first few pages in your exam paper, right? So the charge for one electron is 1.6 times 10 power negative 19, and then you time with 6,000. Then the unit energy is still same, which is joule. Okay, so let's see the answer. So you're supposed to get 9.6 times 10 power negative 16 joule. Make sure you write your unit, okay? You write your unit. Okay, next part. Now, increasing the value of power supply does not increase the angle of deflection of the electron. Why? So just now teacher got mentioned, right? Okay, so the small power supply is for what? For you to produce electron. Okay, if we want it to have this deflection of the angle, I use purple color. That means it will shift up. It will shift even more. That means you increase the EHT, not the small power supply. So that's why they do not have any effect. So how can you answer these questions? 2 marks. So you can say that what? Increase the low voltage, increase what? The number of electrons only that produce for thermionic emission. And deflection angle depends on what? The EHT. Okay, this is in the BM form, extra high tension power. So, or you tell the relationship, when you increase the EHT, the angle of deflection also increases. Okay, question 3 is from 5, chapter 6, nuclear physics, 6.2, nuclear energy. Okay, so diagram 3 show nuclear fusions of deuterium and also tritium. What is the meaning of nuclear fusion? So based on the diagram, you see, you have two nucleus and then they what? Combine, correct? Yes, and these two nucleus, before they combine, they should be lighter, agree? Then when they combine, they become heavier. So this is the definition of nuclear fusion. Okay, combining of two lighter nuclei to form a heavy nucleus. Okay, combining of two lighter nuclei to form a heavy nucleus. Okay, remember you use the term lighter and heavy. You cannot use small and big, then it is wrong. Then based on what you see in the diagram, write a nuclear equation. So you just like forming a chemical equation. H21 plus H31. Okay, then it become what? He42 plus 1 neutron, notice, then plus energy as well. So this is how you write the equation. Next part, the nuclear reaction release a large amount of energy due to mass defect. And table 1 show the mass of each nuclide stated in the atomic mass unit. So atomic mass unit is also a smallest unit which is suitable when we are in the atomic physics field. Because if we were to use kilogram, then it's become super small value or under this topic. So normally they will actually convert it to AMU. And I always tell students, bear in mind, even though they have a lot of decimal point, but when they are in AMU, right, you cannot round off. You must make sure that they are full. Okay, if they have a 7 decimal point, also you need to write full, because when you convert it into kg, then it will be a big difference. Okay, so first, determine the mass defect in SI unit. So for your understanding, okay, what does mean? How do you get the mass defect? Is from the equation just now, you use the total mass before, or we call this as parent nuclide, minus the total mass after the reaction. So which means later on you will use the mass of this deuterium plus tritium and then minus helium plus neutron. Okay, then this is the mass defect in terms of AMU first. Okay, so which means these two you plus together and then you minus the two that you plus together. Then because they want in SI unit, so SI unit for mass is kg. So they normally will give you this lah. You don't need to memorize. So basically 1 AMU is 1.66 times 10 power negative 27 kilogram. So you want to change to kg, you times, or vice versa, then you divide. Okay. So this is how you get your first one, 2.0141 plus 3.01605. You don't need to write the unit inside during substitution, all this. Then minus what? 4.00260 bracket, notice not plus 1.00867. Then this whole thing you time with this. So supposedly you can have 3.13408 times 10 power negative 29 kg. Now, because you have your final answer already, right? Let's say if you round off to become 3.134 actually acceptable one, or 41 also acceptable, because this is final answer already in kg. Okay. Now next, calculate the energy release. So how do you calculate the energy release? You are using the Einstein equations, which is E equals to mc squared. So when you use this equation, make sure your mass is in SI unit. That means you already change in kilogram. Then only you sub unit, because sometimes students, if they didn't ask you to change in kg for the first part, right? Then some people, they would just thought that, hey, I can straight away use the AMU inside the mass. Cannot. Then C is referred to speed of light. Again, you will get this constant value in the formula list, which is 3 times 10 power 8 meter per second per second. And the frequent mistake made by student is they forgot to square the speed of light every time, most of the time. Again, the unit for energy is joule. So hence you will get what? 2.82 times 10 power negative 12 joule. Again, make sure you write the unit, because a lot of times students have the tendency not to write unit. Okay, next questions is from 4, chapter 5, wave, on the topic of refraction of wave. So diagram 4.1 show the wave pattern that propagate from deep sea area towards beach. State the phenomenon that occur in situation above. So I just mentioned this is under refraction of wave, right? Yes, indeed, a refraction of water wave occur due to what? When they have different depth. Okay, so as you can see, they actually start to follow the shape. They bend towards cape and away from bay, because over this region, generally, they are shallower. But then in here, they are normally quite constant one, or the wavelength. The reason is because this is in the deep region, and the depth is kind of constant as well over this region. So, but when they move toward cape or bay, they will start to bend across the shape due to different depth lah. Okay, so the phenomenon, refraction. Make sure you spell correctly. Then next one, how the wavefront of the seawater will follow the shape of the beach when it's approaching the beach. Okay, so like just now teacher mentioned, you first have to mention the difference in depth lah, right? So water wave propagate from where? Deep to shallow region. Or you say the depth decreases. Then when depth decreases, what happens to the velocity of the wave? They are decreases. Once velocity decreases, wavelength also decreases. And hence, the wave will actually refract towards normal line, or you can say it start to bend or follow the shape. Then total you have 3 marks. In diagram 4.2, complete the drawing of water wave propagate from deep region to shallow region. So like teacher mentioned, when you are from deep to shallow region, basically refraction occurs. So of course, the key concept under this, you need to know what happened to the speed or this wavelength. So general concept, I always have this chart, I will tell students what change, what not change. So they like to ask about this few quantity regarding frequency, regarding the speed, wavelength, and also direction. So generally for refraction, frequency, no change, remain constant, but speed change, wavelength change, direction will change. And then from deep to shallow, right? Deep to shallow region, generally they will be slowing down. That means when speed is decreases, what happened to your wavelength? By using V equals to F lambda, since this is constant, then when speed decrease, wavelength also decrease. Okay, now if they slow down, then if you remember the concept for refraction of light, just like the light, when they slow down, when they actually travel from less than medium to denser, right? So I always tell students that if it is for light, a similar idea only, okay? So you have the less than, then towards denser. They are not same. What means less than means deep. No. It just has similar, but if in light, then less than medium to denser, right? Then you slow down, agree? So they will refract towards or away from normal. They will be towards normal in terms of direction. They will be towards normal. So how do you complete the diagram? First step, draw normal line. Okay. So what is normal line? Normal line is a line that are perpendicular to the surface, or to the boundary lah, this one. Okay, so I draw, make sure it is 90 degree. How do you draw a 90 degree line properly? Not sengit. Simple idea is you have your ruler with you, correct? So every time when you put your ruler, then there will be a lot of marking one, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you make sure one of your number, example number 5 over here, that exactly placed on this line. So what you draw will be exactly 90 degree. Now this idea is important because later on you need to complete the wavefront, right? You still need to draw perpendicular line. So once you know this idea, then what you draw is your angle will be correct. It's always at 90 degree. Can? Okay, so next idea, you draw the normal line already. Okay, then next one is you need to know how the wave travel. So what you see, this is called incident wave, the direction of incident wave. Like I told you, deep to shallow, are they towards or away from normal? If there are no changing in direction, they will just go straight only, understand? If they are away, that means you just sketch lah. It's just estimation only, away from normal. This one means towards normal. So now you towards normal ma. Okay, so now you draw the direction already. It's like light ray lah. Then you finish here if it is for light. But it's for water wave, you have to complete the wavefront as well. So next step, you're going to draw the wavefront. Wavefront is a line which is what? Perpendicular to the direction. Now, Okay, make sure this blue color line now is in what? 90 degree with the green line. Okay, not follow the line over here, because some students, they misunderstand, right? They follow the boundary line. No. Okay, so again, I repeat, how do you draw the 90 degree? Let's say this is your ruler, correct? Your marking, you place over here. And get what I mean? So what you draw, remember, in 90. And you not only draw the wavefront, you must be careful. Another context is regarding the wavelength. So they decrease ma. So you must make sure your lambda 2 compared to lambda 1, they memang smaller lah. Lambda 2 less than lambda 1. So if they are equal space, like in the deep region, then it's not correct. So that's why you see 3 marks. So first marks, you show the direction bend correctly, and then the wavelength decreases, and you draw the normal line. So all this is important idea lah. So I hope that if you all the while do not know how to draw the wave patterns for this refraction, now you know how it works. Okay, then move on. Next part is on calculations. A plane wave has a wavelength of 2 cm and the velocity of 8 cm per second as it propagates in a shallow area. When it's propagated in deep water, its velocity becomes 12. What is the wavelength? Okay, so for you to solve these questions, general formula is actually called this speed v equals to f lambda. So like I mentioned just now, your frequency of wave is the same because it's come from the source, whereby when you produce a wave, right? So you will keep on have the constant frequency, like how many wave in 1 second. All right. Yeah. So therefore, frequency is constant. Okay. Then you can have this relationship, F1 equals to F2, but you rearrange, F equals to V over lambda. Hence, you will use V1 over lambda 1 equals to V2 over lambda 2 to solve it. Okay, so assuming shallow region is 1, assuming, okay, so you have your V1 is 8, your lambda 1 is 2, and then your V2 is 12, lambda 2 is what you want to find, unknown. So I always rearrange the formula first. Now, so your lambda 2 is divided by So now I want it to become a subject, so I bring it up, understand? Then what happened to your V1? So you bring it down, this one bring it up. So I hope that this math part, you're okay with it. Lambda 2 will become what? V2 over V1 time lambda 1. Okay, then you start to sub inside. Okay, then you time 2. Then you get your answer, which is 3. Okay, and the unit follow, they are in cm, so you are in cm as well. So the math part is up to you, but I normally rearrange the formula and then I sub inside. As long as you indicate your V1, V2 correctly, then we'll do already. And then we move on to the next questions. Question 5. Question 6 is comparison question. So question 5 here is from 5 topic, pressure on Archimedes principle concept. So let's look at the idea. Diagram 5.1 show a submarine with an empty ballast tank floating in the sea. And diagram 5.2 show the submarine submerged when the water filled in the ballast tank. A, tick for the correct answer in the box provided. Buoyant force is what? Actually, buoyant force is an upward force, immersed, okay, on an object immersed in liquid. The weight of water displaced by object immersed in the liquid. Yeah. Okay, so generally the buoyant force is the upward force, but they have a relationship under Archimedes principle, whereby this buoyant force will be equal to what? The weight of liquid displaced, but it doesn't mean the buoyant force is the weight of liquid displaced. They have the relationship. So general meaning is actually the upward force. Okay, then observe diagram 5.1, 5.2 and compare what? The weight of submarine, weight of water displaced, and also buoyant force. Okay, under Archimedes principle topic, right? Teacher always tells student when you look at the questions, of course, it's most of the time is asking the idea like whether the object float or sink, something like that, right? But they have two contexts, okay? One is same object but different liquid. Means you have a same object, they are in sea water, then they are in the fresh water example, right? So same object but different liquid. But they also have another context, which is a different object in same liquid. That means they have example plastic or metal, then they are in the water, same type of water. Okay, so you all must really understand the questions before you start to answer, or else you may terbalikkan the concept. Okay, so how about this one, the submarine idea. So now you see they are all in the same water, correct? The same liquid. Okay, but the scenario now is, now this belt tank is filled with water. The moment they fill with water, they become heavy. What? So obviously, the weight in 5.1 or 5.2 greater based on what you observe from these two diagrams. So basically 5.2, the weight of the submarine is greater, correct? Then what is weight of this liquid displaced? Weight of liquid displaced is also equals to the weight of the object submerged. Yeah, so you see this submerged more, right? That means the liquid that they actually that come out, or we call it displaced, will be greater also in 5.2. Okay, and lastly, buoyant force. So of course, if you displace more liquid, you will have greater buoyant force also lah. So here is the answer. Weight of submarine in diagram 5.2 is greater, weight of water displaced in 5.2 also greater, and buoyant force in diagram 5.2 is greater. Yeah, you can use the term greater, or you want to use the symbol of 5.2 more than 5.1. Yes, this symbol accept. Again, you need to write full term, make it a habit. Do not just write 5.2 more 5.1. Because when you have shortcut, sometimes the answer is like not complete. So it may cause you to lose mark. Okay. Next, relate the weight of water displaced and buoyant force. Since just now you see everything 5.2 greater, right? This means the relationship among all these quantity, they should be directly proportional. But in Archimedes principle, I already say you have something very special is you see weight of liquid displaced and buoyant force. So in this context, because of Archimedes principle, you didn't use the increase way or the directly proportional way. You have to use the term what? Equal. They really want you to use the term equal. Only for Archimedes principle. Most of the time you will say when A increases, B increases, something like that, correct? And therefore, only you have this principle. We call it what? Archimedes principle. Make sure you spell correctly. Archimedes. After S, then only apostrophe. Don't apostrophe because sometimes you don't write Archimedes. Wrong. It must be S, then only apostrophe. So you must be careful because moment you write wrongly or you have one words inside wrong, then one letter wrong, you already consider wrong. Okay, move on. Based on diagram 5.2, if the volume of seawater displaced by the submarine is 1.2 times 10 power 9 cm3, calculate the weight of seawater displaced by the submarine. Okay, so how do you solve these questions? Okay, so basically you have the idea of this object is considered like floating. So you have weight, you have this buoyant force, and generally they're supposed to be equal because they are floating. Okay, so the boiling point equals to the weight object, also equals to the weight of liquid displaced. So, and the formula for boiling force is what? Rho V G. So do you have density? Yes. Then do we have volume? Yes. And then do we have G? Yes. But when before you sub, always check is all the magnitude given, right? They're already in their SI unit or not. You see, like volume, volume is what? 1.2 times 10 power of 9 cm cube. But what is the SI unit for volume? It's meter cube, right? So first step, you have to change to SI unit. How do you change centimeter cube to meter cube? So by right, okay, everything you copy back. Now, centi in prefix is actually -2, right? And not only that, you must remember they are cube. So you need to bracket and cube the whole thing, you know. Hence, you have 1.2 times 10 power of 9 times 10 power -6 meter cube. So this is the correct way lah, can? Yeah. Then you want to simplify first, can? Then you write 1.2 times 10 power what? 3 meter cube. Then only you can sub into the equation 1020. How come you need to change? You see, because density, their unit is kilogram per meter cube. They are in meter cube. So they are in cm cube and meter cube cannot cancel out. Yeah, so you have to change one. Then time 10. Then you, sorry, not 10. Your syllabus nowadays is 9.81 G meter per second per second. Okay, you're supposed to get 1, 2. Quite big, make it into a standard form lah. So you're supposed to have 1.2007 times 10 power of 6 Newton. Okay, the unit for weight is Newton. And or you want to write 1.2 also actually acceptable if 2 decimal point. Yes. Then next, what is the boiling force? So I tell you the relationship, they should be equal. So there should be the same answer as well. You just need to write this way. Okay, so actually the formula wise, all this is not hard, correct? Rho Vg. The hard part is in case you do not know how to change the unit. So sometimes all this will cause you to lose mark because you do not know how to change the unit. Now if 3 decimal point at 1.201. Okay, then move on. Again, comparison question 6. So this is under Form 4, Chapter 6 on the idea of the image formation for lenses. Diagram 6.1, 6.2 show the ray diagram for an upright object that is at 2 different distance in front of identical convex lens. That means their object distance is different. Okay, first part, name the light phenomenon or involved. So if you were to notice, after the ray touch the lens, right, is the ray bounce or they pass through and bend? So they bend, right? So of course, this concept, what we call it as refractions of light, refraction, FRAC. Okay, then next, compare the object distance, part 1. Part 2, compare the image distance and compare the size of image. So of course, you want to compare object distance, you need to know where is object distance, right? So object distance is from where to where? Object distance is from the center of the lens to the object. This is called object distance, and they have the symbol of U. Then what is image distance? Image distance is from the center of the lens, the optical center, to the image. Then the symbol for image distance is actually V, okay? So U and V not only refer to initial velocity and final only, there can be object distance, image distance. Then size of image is the height itself, as you can see, this one. And this one, this is size of image. So once you know what is all this refer to, then you can compare easily, correct? So the object distance is 5.1, is 6.1 is how? Shorter, or vice versa, you say in 6.2 is longer. Okay, then image distance is vice versa, right? Image distance in 6.1 is longer, but then in 6.2 is shorter. So you can just stop at, like you say, longer, shorter, that's it. And then same size of image, 6.1 is bigger lah. So this is another way that you can write. You can use longer, shorter, greater, bigger, bigger, smaller, all this, no problem. Okay. Or vice versa, like part 1, it can be object distance in 6.1 is smaller, can one. Okay, or shorter. Okay, then relate lah. So what is the relationship between object distance with image distance? So obviously just now when you see the object distance is longer, image distance is sorry, this one shorter than longer, right? Then this one longer, shorter, right? So you can say inversely proportional, or you can say when the object distance increases, image distance decreases, while the object distance and the size, or the smaller, then bigger size of image, or vice versa. So, or you say when the object distance increases, the smaller the size of image distance. Yeah. So of course, question 5 and 6 always say one, you must try to be observant, and if you no problem with the terms used, right, then even though you are not good in that particular topic, you can actually try to give a correct answer by look at the diagram, by finding out what is all these terms refer to. Sometimes they will put symbol all this for you all. Okay, next one. Diagram 6.3 show an incomplete ray diagram. Complete the ray diagram in the 6.3. Okay, so whether for lenses or mirror, for you to construct the ray diagram, you need to know they always have 3 rules lah. Generally, parallel ray, they'll cut through focus point, or they'll cut to a focus point first, then only parallel ray coming out after that pass through focus point. Or one more is cut through optical center. Okay, so like this case, memang we will draw how from the object head. If you do not know, then you learn together with teacher right now. Parallel, touch the lens, already what happen? Cut through focus point. Okay, then another one from object head with the center of the lens. What you do? Cut through. Okay, supposingly, you're supposed to find the intersection point between the 2 ray that you construct. But like this contact, you see, my red ray and the green ray, are they going to be intersect after they pass through the lens, or when they move towards right-hand side? They won't, right? But what if you imagine, if I were to extend these 2 ray to the left-hand side, that means going upwards, it seems like they're able to intersect, correct? Yes. So yes, this is what I do. I extend, but the moment I extend, because by right, the ray will just move towards right-hand side, but this one you extend yourself. So what you do is you have to make it dotted. What you do? You make it dotted, because you extend yourself. So same go for the red one. You extend it, and then you make it what? Dotted. But actually you have your intersection point already. Notice? Yeah. Or you make it dotted. So where is your intersection point? Here. Okay, then do not stop here. You know, your object is an arrowhead, right? So your image also must be an arrowhead. And your image is from the principal axis go to the intersection point. So you don't just simply just draw a little small arrow there. You must from principal axis, that means this like the x-axis, you go uphill. Okay, this is your image. Now if possible, also make the image dotted. So this is how they differentiate between image and object. Okay, but you forgot to put dotted for image, then make sure you label I. Okay. Now, of course, in exam, some students will say, oh, teacher, I really super confused. I don't know when to put dotted or when not to. Then you draw everything clear line. But you cannot construct ray which all dotted, like all you go and make it dotted, cannot, understand? But of course, this is the correct way lah. Teacher wants you to follow. So they cannot minus your marks at all, okay? Because what you draw, everything is correct. The ray parallel cut through, so you show the arrowhead, you get 1 mark. And same thing, you cut through optical center, you get another mark, and then your image is another marks. Okay, of course, the thing that you follow exactly like teacher, you confirm get full marks. But then sometimes what means you forgot to put the the doctor didn't do the arrow. So depending, okay, let's say the schema becomes strict, then you may not get marks already. Understand? Yes. Okay, next question 7. Diagram 7.1 shows an archaeologist which a mass of 65 kilograms is moved across 2 cliffs using a stretch rope, and he stopped to rest in the middle of the rope. What is mean by forces in equilibrium? So simple. Forces in equilibrium means the resultant force is equals to 0. Or the resultant force acting on the object is equals to 0, or F net equals to 0, or sometimes you can just write like that, can also. Draw the triangle of forces for the weight, W, and the tension of the rope caused by the archaeologist. So first step, you need to label the force. Okay, so where is the direction of weight? Confirm go downhill, like this. Then the tension on the string or rope will be this one. So you will have this, okay, and then and this, okay. So the arrowhead you can always draw at the middle because I use computer, so the arrowhead is on the at the end. Okay, so what you actually draw, how you draw the triangle of forces is, I always tell students, you imagine like you are playing the toothpick or matches. You can rearrange all these 3 forces again, but you cannot change my arrowhead. You cannot change my angle. Okay, so it's easier because now we have this computer. I can just shift and you can see the idea clearly. Or you when you do in the paper also use pencil, so you just sketch over. You see, I bring this go up. Notice not, and then I bring this go down. So it's become a triangle, right? Or you see, I can remain this one over here, but I shift this one. Can? Yes, can also. And I bring this one. Is also a triangle. And once you try to sketch on the existing diagram, right, you will notice the angle idea. So this is theta, correct? That means this is also theta. Or you can write this whole thing is actually 2 theta, okay? Now, why you need to know the angle, all this, because later on, if they ask you to calculate, okay, so if they give you the angle or they give you the value of weight, then you can use scale drawing, or you can use the cos formula, all this, no problem, or the triangle formula, yeah. Okay, so now teacher already show you, so you can either have this answer or this answer. So make sure when you draw the triangle, right, make sure you have this arrowhead, you label the weight, the tension, and of course, if possible, you give the angle. Of course, 1 mark sometimes they are linear, or what means if you didn't show the theta, okay, as long as you show the correct triangle with the direction, then they accept already, okay, can? But if good that you know all this, can? So if no problem, then we proceed to the next questions. Okay, calculate the tension of rope T produced by archaeology is both angle is 20. Okay, so I explain, let's say any of you, because they didn't, okay, even though they say calculate, but let's say you prefer drawing, because some people, they're good in skill drawing, all this. So what you do is, the weight of this archaeologist is 65 kg, right? Okay, and then you already have this sketch, correct? So basically, you know that this, they say this theta is 20, correct? So this means total is 40, lor. If this is 40, then this is a same side one, the triangle. Okay, 180 minus 40, what you get? You get 140, then you divide by 2. So this means this angle is 70, 70. So what you do is, the weight itself is mg, so you will use 65 kg of this archaeologist times 9.81. Then you get about 637.65. Now, of course, you can't really give until so accurate lah. So it's about 637 or 600 and if you use scale drawing 38 Newton, then you choose the scale, understand? So assumption only 1 cm is 100 Newton. That means you're going to draw how many cm? About 6.4 cm law, correct? 6.38 ma. So you draw the weight 6.4 cm down, then you measure angle, then you extend. Then at the end, what you do is you measure this length. Then this is the answer for the tension already, if you use drawing method. Okay? Now, of course, there is more method than that. You can use the formula for the triangle one. That means this is 40 ma. Then this weight is what? Just now teacher show you already, mg, and then you get what? 637.65. So you can use cos 40 over 63 equals to this one 70, cos 70 over t. Then you get the t. Or another method that you're going to learn in the idea of resolution of force. So I normally also will guide student with this technique. I always tell student, a force with an angle, you can resolve it into two components, right? Which is what? Y component and also X component. Okay, this is Fx, this is Fy, and then this is like a Z. Also, this is your angle, correct? And you will have either cos or sine idea, right? Under resolution of force. So how do you know when it's cos, when it's sine? So you see this angle touch this, right? Automatically, it is T cos 20. And then the other one will be T sine 20. Okay? Then same thing. You not only have one root, right? You have another root which is over the other side. Or you also can resolve it into Y component, into X component both. This is Fx again. So it's still T cos 20, and then this one is still T sine 20. So generally you have two Fy, notice or not? Then lastly, you know that you're supposed to have this weight mg, and then just now we keep on calculate many times already, 637.65. So what you can do, if you know the concept of equilibrium. So equilibrium means the net force is zero. Left equals to right, okay? Up equals to down, total up. So therefore, you will have 2Fy equals to W. Can get the idea? So you have 2T sine 20 equals to 637.65. Then our purpose is to find the tension. Then you divide by you by right. Okay, I recalculate to make sure it's accurate. Answer divided by 2 divided by sine 20. Yeah, so you're supposed to get 932.18 Newton. So of course, if you to use the calculation way or maths way, by right, your answer will be more accurate compared to drawing. But all these method is acceptable. So they really have a lot of way for you to calculate. So depending on which way you want to use. Okay. Oh, sorry, this one just now teacher give some wrong idea. Use sine one, right? Okay. Instead of cos way, okay. This one is the triangle one. Okay. You must refer back this triangle, the previous page punya triangle, this one. That means this is 40. Sine 40 over the weight, 6 something just now equals to, this is 70. Just now teacher also got show 70 over T1. Yeah. Okay. So make sure you really get the idea lah. So whichever method also acceptable. Okay. D. Diagram 7.2 shows a wheelbarrow. Based on this table, state which the suitable characteristic of wheelbarrow so that it can be more suitable to be used at a construction site. Okay. So they have two idea here. Should you push or pull the wheelbarrow, and the size of tire? So I always tell students, if you not really understand why should you push or pull the wheelbarrow, so in terms of size of the tire, should it be big or small first? So it should be big or So small, wrong already. Okay, so this type of question 7, right, is similar like the essay question for question 9 and 10 one, means but it's just that the table is a less characteristic only. Okay, so in the construction side, you tend to what means your mindset is you want your wheelbarrow to be lighter or heavier, basically. You want it to be lighter, right? So that you can lift up easily, correct? So the better method is actually pull. Okay. Okay, I will explain now when I show you the answer later on. Okay, so method pull. Why? The total resultant force is smaller. So now I show you both diagram over here. Notice. Okay. When you pulling your wheelbarrow, that's mean your arrowhead is going up. You pushing, then you're going down. So generally, you can resolve your force into two components, F1, Fy and also Fx, okay? So the vertical one is Fy lah. This is Fx. Okay, I use this one with another color, so you can see easily. Okay, oh. Now, you look at the Fy component, you look at the direction of the arrowhead. So if you were to pull, right, your arrowhead is up on this. But then if you push, what happened? It is down, notice? And then you added up the weight of the object, the wheelbarrow. So your weight is memang downward. So notice or not, if you pull, that means since your Fy is up, then your total of Fy will be what? Fy total will be more or less. It will be lesser. But then this case, how? Your Fy total will be more. Get the idea? Yeah. You need to know both contexts is because that depends on scenario. So like in the construction site, you want it to be lighter. That's why it's better to pull it. So you will have a smaller resultant force downward. Get it? So you pull. But in which scenario should you push? Example is a lawnmower, because you want to cut the grass. Okay, sorry. You want to cut the grass and you want to push towards the ground. Understand? They are more stable. Yeah. Then size of tire, like I mentioned just now already, you have to be what? Big. Why? Less pressure exerted. Okay, because pressure is force per unit area. Bigger area, smaller pressure. Okay. Okay, so lastly, based on the answer in 7D1 and D2, choose the most suitable wheelbarrow to use for heavy duty in construction. So your answer should be L. So this is question 7. So for question 8, diagram 8.1 show a water heater labeled 240 volt 3 kilowatt. Define label 240 volt and 3 kilowatt. Okay, so this is what we call the power rating of any electrical device, where they will have this voltage and also the power of the device. Okay, so normally how do you define these definitions? I always tell students change the idea of power into energy per time concept. Means you just rewrite everything, but you change the idea of power become energy per second. That means when this water heater is being connected to 240 volt power supply, right? So what happens is this water heater will consume or use how much of energy, which is 3000 joule of energy every second. So this is how you define. Okay. So you don't write back the idea of power okay. So this is how you write it. The water heater will consume 3000 joule energy every second when connected to 240 volt power supply. Next. Diagram 8.1 shows a water heater labeled 240 volt 3 kilowatt, and the water heater is used 4 hours per day. Calculate the energy used in unit kilowatt hour for 30 days. So what is this unit? So this is also another unit of energy, but then normally we change to this unit when we want to calculate the electrical bill the electrical bill. So basically, you see, the energy consumption is power time time. You rearrange from the formula of power, right? Okay, so generally, if your unit is joule, right, that means this is watt, this is second. So they are same idea. What second is joule. So what you do now is you change this power into kilowatt. Then the time into hour, right? So generally, it's also still the unit for energy. It's just another type of unit. Okay, so in the question they already give you the time in terms of hour. Okay, and then this is indeed in the idea of kilowatt. Okay, and you just need to time with 30 days. So you can just say the energy will be the power, which is 3, time the time, which is 4, time 30 days. Then you get the answer lah. Yeah, so it's kind of direct also lah. Yes. Okay, so at the end you will have 360 kilowatt hour. So normally when you are have the energy in terms of this unit, right, they will just tell you lah, the cost for 1 kilowatt hour is maybe about 20 cents. So how much is the electrical bill? Then you just time and find out the cost lah. Okay, C. The heating element in 8.2 is designed to produce large quantity of heat, and the production of heat depends on the characteristic of the wire and the heating element. Okay, so basically, yeah, they show you the heating element over here. Then 8.3, they show you the power rating, which is about 120 volts, 60 hertz, 900 watt. Okay, so Julia, who's studying in Canada, want to buy a water heater and bring it back to Malaysia. However, based on the specifications, the two brought cannot be used in Malaysia. If Julia intend to use, suggest modification. Of course, it's like not make sense, right? Why don't you buy the water heater in Malaysia? But it just want you to have some idea because not necessarily water heater lah. Maybe you all want to buy some new gadget like phone, all this in other country, but you must really be careful about the power rating. Okay, so for your understanding, in Malaysia, right, we will actually use how many volt the power, all means the voltage supply in every household, right, is supposed to be 240 volt. This is in Malaysia. But then if you go China or all this, that's why you need adapter. Notice or not, inside they also will have transformer so that to adjust to the voltage accordingly lah. So your device or phone, all this, they will be not they will not be damaged. So this is the thing that you need to take notes on. And then also they talk about the heating element idea. Okay, so the material of heating element. So for your understanding, heating element, what is the purpose of heating element is to produce heat, right? So what material will actually produce more heat? It must be a material which have a high resistivity, right? So example of material would be what? Tungsten or nichrome. So this is your answer lah. So the reason you can say both of them also have high resistivity, you just give one of it will do, or they actually can produce more heat. Okay, moving on next. So you want to have more heat, that means you need to have high resistance. Right? So therefore, the relationship between cross-sectional area and resistance is inversely proportional. Okay, resistance is inversely proportional to cross-sectional area. So that's why it should be thinner lah. Reason, so again, high resistance. Then type of transformer. So like I mentioned, you see this is the power rating. They want what means in Malaysia we have 240 volts. So that means you want to step up voltage or step down. You want to step up, right? So that's why you have this step up oh yes, because they need 120 volt, so you cannot have high voltage. So that's why you need to have a step down transformer. So what means when they connect to 240, so you added with a transformer as well. So what happened is the 240 will change to 120 first. Then therefore you can be use the water heater. Yeah, so this is the idea of questions 8, similar like the concept of question 11. Okay, now we will move on to essay questions. Okay, so first essay questions, question 9 is on the Form 4 topic gravitations. Okay, so diagram 9.1 shows a rocket that is moving through the layer of Earth atmosphere. what is mean by escape velocity? Now, all this definition, even though they are like more towards memorizing, but then it's important now for you to get 1 marks, as you can see in a whole paper 2, at least you have 4 to 5 definitions. So what is escape velocity? Is actually a minimum velocity needed for an object on the surface of Earth to overcome the gravitational pull or gravitational force and escape to the outer space. Yeah, so if you notice that a certain definition you are not so familiar, it is good that especially when you are doing the state paper, preparing for SPM, right? Just try your best to remember as many definitions as you can when you do all this paper. Okay, next, what are the factors that basically affect the escape velocity? So first thing, you need to know the formula for escape velocity. V equals to what? Square root of 2gm over r. Yeah, or generally for your understanding, right, they really will have this formula in the formula list. So that's why of course nowadays they have giving you all the formula, but one thing not good is they didn't really specifically tell you what is this G refer to, what is this V refers to. You see here got V, right, a few formula for you. How do you know which one is for escape velocity? So somehow, even though they have but what means you cannot just say, oh yeah, they also have formula list also, I no need to remember the formula. But you need to know what is all this refer to, the force. What force is this? Like this one is the universal gravitational force. This is centripetal force, right? So you still need to be very clear on each topic when you study or for those particular topic. So this is kind of important also lah. So generally this is the formula 2gm over r. Okay, where g is a gravitational constant, and then m is the mass of the sun or earth, and then r is the distance. Yeah, so that's why this is the 2 factor lah. That's why here is where they come from, the answer. Mass of Earth, and then distance r from the center of the Earth. Okay, next. Explain why the Earth can retain its atmospheric layer. Okay, so how do you answer? The marks is 2 marks. Okay, first, you must mention regarding the escape velocity lah. So the escape velocity from Earth is very high. Of course, you may not remember the value. So that's why I put brackets. So for information, the escape velocity is about 11,200 meter per second. And the molecule of air in atmosphere have lower linear speed. So the linear speed is about 500 lah. So bracket means optional. You not necessarily need to give the value. So hence the air molecule cannot escape out from the Earth. Yeah. If let's say the speed of this molecule is very high, that means it will not stay in the Earth law. The idea behind it is like the question asked, why the air layer is still maintained. Yes. So because they are not as high as escape velocity. Okay, move on for part B. Diagram 9.2 show a communication satellite, and the table show the characteristic of 4 telecommunications satellite. And you're assigned to study the characteristic of the satellite that's suitable for communication. Okay, so the keyword is communication. So under this topic 3.3, you're supposed to know you need to differentiate the 2 types of satellite, which is geostationary and non-geostationary, and what is the example of application. Okay, so generally size of antenna, what do you all think? Should the antenna big or small? You want to receive more information, less information, so it should be big, right? So this is how you all do this type of questions. You see the expect, and then which one is you confident and you surely know the idea. Okay, and is it more solar cell better or less? More also. Okay, so it seems like memang K and L is out already. Okay, and then should this satellite be geostationary or non-geostationary? So basically the idea of geo means as an observer, right, when you observe this satellite, there seems to be not moving. Why it happened that way is because, as you know, the Earth will rotate, right, one cycle in 24 hours. So same thing, if so happen, this is Earth, this is the orbit, right? So if this satellite move at the same time as the Earth rotate, right? So that's why it seems like not moving. Also, this is called geostationary satellite, but non-geo means they can be faster or slower. They will take 12 hours or 30 hours depending on, because they are not at the same pace. So it seems to be moving one. Okay, so geostationary is also the type of satellite which used for communications, telecommunications, so that you can see the live or from other country lah. Yeah, so therefore you're supposed to choose J, and the mass of the satellite, it shouldn't too heavy, right? Because you want to launch it, there must be overcome the gravitational force. So size of antenna big. What is the reason? More wave can be reflected, or you can say receive more signal. And the type of satellite geostationary, as is above the same geographical location, or the orbital period is 24 hours. Many solar cells can collect more light energy. Low mass consume less fuel during launching, or it is lighter lah. And therefore you just say, oh, you will choose JY because the size of antenna is big. It is geostationary satellite, many solar cell, and low mass. So this type of question, indeed, memang they request you all to do in a table form, and this is the way how you give your answer. If they are in term of number like just now, the mass is 3,000 kg, all this, you don't write the value, don't write number, you describe big or small. Of course, certain case you need to emphasize the value, like because it is a must, but then in general, because you justify the idea ma. So if you justify, that means it's like in general you want it to be low or big. Okay, so next C is calculation questions. A satellite with mass 600 kg orbiting the Earth at height 300 km from the Earth's surface. Calculate the speed of satellite orbiting the Earth, and then part 2, period of satellite orbiting the Earth. Okay, to find the speed of satellite, right, they are basically now you can use the formula of this V equals to what? GM linear speed formula over R. But you careful of this R, in this context, they give you what? Height. So this height is not the distance from the center of the Earth to the satellite. So again, I sketch out the diagram so you have a better picture. So this is Earth, this is satellite lah. Okay, so they tell you, giving you here is the height. Understand? But you also need to take into account what? This part. From center of the Earth. So this is the radius. Yeah. So that's why your R is R plus H. Okay. Then next thing, again, always be alert. Check, is all your value, right, in SI unit, or is kilometer SI unit? No, the SI unit is meter ma. So when you plus, you need to be careful. So you change the kilo to 1,000 times 1,000 lah. Then you memang have, this one is the mass of the satellite. You are not using the mass of satellite. You are using the mass of the Earth. And also R is the radius of the Earth. Again, all this, supposedly, all this value, either they are in the question itself or in the formula list. So you no need to memorize. Okay, so therefore part 1, okay, memang given this one supposed to be given in the formula list, or the radius of Earth is 6.63 times 10 power 6. And then height, teacher say already, you change to 300,000. Okay, so this is R. And the G is the gravitational constant. M is the mass of Earth. This is mass of Earth. Because sometimes if you all do not know the symbol represent what, right, then you may, okay, go and write 600 kg. Then it's wrong, what? So be alert, okay? Understand what is all these symbol refer to. That's why you just know that there is some formula there, not enough one. You have to know how to apply it. Okay, and at the end, you will have a V. The speed is about 2.4 times 10 power 3 meter per second. Okay, then we move on to the part 2. So for part 2, they want you to calculate the period of this satellite. Now, there is two formula. One is the formula that you can use the mass of sun or earth. They link the universal gravitation and also centripetal force together one. And then they also use to derive the relationship of Kepler's third law, whereby you have T square is directly proportional to R cube. So they will have this formula, or you can check it in the formula list. Or in general, you're supposed to know linear speed is 2 pi R over T. Yeah, so you interchange, so you have T equals to 2 pi over V. So whichever formula is accepted, but also once you decide which formula you want to use, then you just sub accordingly. Because you can use this, you actually find the speed just now. Let's say they are not asking you to find the speed, then you can straight use this now. T equals to square root of 4 pi square R cube over GM to calculate. So you're supposed to get 1.81 times 10 power 5 second. If you change to hour, then you divide this 3,600 and then you have 50.39 hours. But if they didn't mention, you can leave your answer in SI, you need no worry, okay? Question 10. Question 10 is from 5 topic on electromagnetism, electromagnetic induction idea. So diagram 10.1 show a fish is cooked by using an induction cooker. What is mean by electromagnetic induction? Electromagnetic inductions mean the general idea that you should know is you cause the change in the magnetic flux, and then at the end you produce what? Induce EMF, electromotive force, or induce current. Okay, so this is your definition. The products of induced EMF or electromotive force by changing of magnetic flux or cutting of magnetic flux. Cutting also can, cutting. Next, based on the physics concept, how an induction cooker work? Okay, so generally for the induction cooker to work, you must have special pans on all the cooking utensils. So if you know the idea of how a transformer work, right, and how to reduce the energy loss in a transformer, you know that basically one of the way is they want to reduce eddy current. So induction cooker is work based on eddy current. Okay, so there is a coil inside the cooker, then they will produce this what? Magnetic flux. Then they will cause the current to be induced in the pans, okay? And therefore, you want more current to produce, and this current, where we call it as eddy current, end result is they will change to become heat energy, and the heat is used to cook the food lah. Okay, so high frequency alternating current is a flow in the coil, or you just say current flow in the coil, produce a changing magnetic field. Then eddy current is induced at the bottom of the pan. That's why you not like you want to use aluminum pan, then you can use it. Cannot. You must have a material which is suitable that they can have a magnetic field. And then this eddy current produce heat on the pan. So this is how the induction cooker work lah. Then diagram 10.2 show the inside of the induction cooker. This is the coil wire. Okay. Then you have the plate, top plate, should it be ceramic, copper? And then they say the material of the pan, should it be non-magnetic or ferromagnetic? And the coil wire, should it be twisted or single wire? And lastly, type of power supply, should it be DC or AC? So like I say, if you know the concept of transformer only can work with alternating current. Same thing. You want to have changing, as long as you want to have change of magnetic flux, right? Or magnetic field, they are same thing. Magnetic flux, just a lot of magnetic field. then you should use AC. Then only you produce magnetic field, then they actually collapse and then they're induced back again. So no doubt you need to have AC. So DC is not acceptable. Then next thing, the top part. So normally if you would to have an induction cooker at home, it look like a glassware, correct or not? Should it conduct electricity or cannot? No, right? So it's supposed to be ceramic because we don't want it to conduct electricity. It's insulated and also they have high specific capacity. Then next, you want it to produce magnetic field. So that's why the pens itself, there should be ferromagnet one. And lastly, you want to have more current or less current induced. Teacher say you want more, right? So you must have low resistance. So that's why it should be twisted wire, thicker wire lah, compared to single wire. So it seems like you know the choice already, which is L. Okay, then again, you need to know what is the proper reason lah. Okay, so we see the answer together. Top plate is ceramic. Why? Not induced current, or it is a poor heat conductor. And then the material for the pot is ferromagnet, produce a high eddy current. Then twisted wire produce strong magnetic field. Since you have a thicker or you have more current flow, then your field produce also stronger. Current is AC, produce a magnetic field that is change in magnetic and direction. And lastly, you say L is chosen as the top plate is ceramic, the material for the pot is ferromagnet, and the wire is twisted and the current is AC. Okay, last part is calculation. Diagram 10.3 shows a symbol of a step-down transformer. Calculate the output voltage. Okay, then part 2, find the input power if current in primary coil is 0.2 ampere. Part 3, calculate the output current flow in the bulb labeled 1036 watt that's connected to a secondary coil. Okay, so first they give you this is a primary voltage, this is secondary voltage. This is what we call output lah. Then they didn't show you the input. Okay, then this is number of turn of primary, this is number of turn of secondary. So first they want you to find the V output or okay, or secondary last some sort. Okay, so by right, this is the idea for the bulb, but then not necessarily the voltage supply is exactly 10 volts. So in this context, you're going to use the formula of what? Since I want to find Vs also, I put Vs on top. Vs over Ns equals to Vp over Mp. Yeah, then you can find this. Your Ns is 60, or you just bring Vs equals to what is your primary voltage? 240 over 1200, the Mp time with 60. Then find the input power if the current flow in primary coil is 0.2 ampere. So they want to find power and then they give you I. So the most common one, you can use VI idea, but the V and I should be the primary one. So you already have the voltage, the current, you just multiply, then you get the answer. Then lastly, calculate the output current flow in a bulb labeled 10 volt 36 watt that is connected to secondary coil. Assume the transformer is ideal. If the transformer is ideal, that means the input power and output power should be the same. Okay, so therefore, this is how you get your answer. So D1 is what I show you. That's why you get this 12 volt. The input is VI, like I mentioned just now, your primary voltage 240 and the current is 0.2. So the unit is 48 watt. Now, since I mentioned just now, your input and output should be the same. Understand? So your output also should be 48 law. And they want you to calculate I, then the secondary voltage is the 12 that we calculated. Okay, we are using the calculated one, not from here. This is the bulb. Like they only need 10 volt, then you can light up already. So if too high voltage, sometimes the bulb will actually burn out. But depending lah, then you will get 4. But then it is high enough to light up the bulb already. So make sure you all got right the unit, watt, ampere, all this. Yeah, so we're done with the calculation part. So we go to the last question. So last question is in Form 4 topic, chapter 4, 4.1, thermal equilibrium. And later on have some idea on specific capacity as well. So diagram 11.1 show 2 cups of hot coffee of the same mass and same initial temperature, and a metal spoon and a plastic spoon of the same mass were placed in each cup respectively. And the temperature of coffee decreases after a few minutes. Okay, then the diagram 11.2 show a graph of temperature against time. A1, what is the meaning of heat capacity? Now, they are not asking for specific heat capacity, so you no need to emphasize the 1 kg of mass. So generally, what is heat capacity? Amount of heat needed to increase the temperature of 1 kg, or to increase the temperature, or I already say no need to say the 1 kg. Temperature of, increase the temperature of the substance by 1 degree Celsius. Unless they say specific, and you need to have the 1 kg inside. Next, based on diagram 11.2, compare the final temperature time taken to become hot and the rate of change of temperature of each spoon, and then relate the specific capacity and the time of spoon to become hot, and hence relate specific capacity with the rate of change of temperature of the spoon. So last question, they always have a comparison questions, all same like questions 5 and 6. Okay, so compare the final temperature. So final temperature, there should be same. So who gets hot first? The metal spoon, correct? Because the temperature is higher compared to here, right? The plastic one. Okay, assuming we're taking a point, all right? Then the rate of change of temperature of each spoon. So again, this one they use shorter time to increase its temperature. This one higher, yeah. So generally, metal and plastic, which one have high specific capacity? Plastic spoon will have high specific heat capacity, which means they have they take time to heat up and also cool down. Yeah. So that's why when the specific capacity is higher, the time of spoon become hot is slower. And then higher also the rate is bigger. Okay. So you can have this both first have same temperature. First point. Then time taken for the metal spoon to be hot is shorter. The rate of change of temperature for the metal spoon is faster. Smaller the specific capacity, the shorter the time taken of the spoon to become hot. And then the smaller the specific capacity, the faster the rate of change of temperature. Next, after an hour, the temperature of coffee inside both cups are the same as surrounding temperature. Explain how it happens. So this is under the concept of thermal equilibrium. So what does the meaning of thermal equilibrium? It means what? When two objects in contact, after some time, they will reach what? Same temperature, and also there is no net flow of heat. So you just need to elaborate more when we have these 4 marks questions, but at the end you will actually use back the definitions as the answer one. So of course first you say the coffee is in contact with the surrounding air, correct? Okay, then of course which one have high temperature, you also mentioned the different temperature initially, correct? Coffee have high temperature but the surrounding have lower temperature, and therefore there is a net flow of heat from the coffee to the surrounding. So after some time, they reach same temperature. So you see, this is how you write. Initially, temperature of coffee higher than the surrounding, and there is net flow of heat from coffee to the surrounding. When thermal equilibrium is achieved, the coffee have the same temperature as surrounding, and the net flow of heat is 0. Okay, so you see, you have back the definition or the idea of thermal equilibrium, right? Then only you can get 4 marks full. So part C, diagram 11.3 show a container house. By using appropriate physics concept, explain the use of suitable material and design to improve the ventilations of the house and to ensure the temperature inside the house is not high, and your answer should include the following aspect. First, regarding the number of windows, size of window, then material for the wall and roof, and additional feature that can cool down the house. So since it's 10 marks questions, this is open-ended questions, even though they only give you 1, 2, 3, 4. But actually from here, they say wall and roof, that's mean you can split it up. So you must always bear in mind, you must minimum have 5 expect and 5 reason, or 5 modification, 5 reason minimum. But you can give more than 5 if you have more idea, like the additional features that you think you can cool the house more, right? You give more idea. So you want it to cool down faster, or improve ventilation, right? Number of window in general should be what? More lah, correct? You already get 1 mark by saying so. Then size of window should be big or small, also big lah. Now the wall and roof, you want to be cold, right? So what, and any idea the material they should have high specific capacity or low? High, right? So it take time to heat up so you say this ideal. Then any additional feature that can cool down the whole, so you can say you have some hole on top, because it's due to convection, right? Okay. So any unnecessary thing that you think is possible, you can just add in. Also, we see here the example of answer. More in window. What is the reason behind it? More air can enter the house. Large size of window. Same idea, more air. Okay, but we cannot give a good ventilation anymore. Why you cannot give this? Because it's in the questions, in the question, so you don't give, or else it's no marks lah. Then like say the wall is made by high specific capacity, so the wall will not get hot easily. Make a good heat insulator, prevent heat conduction inside the house. Paint the wall with white color, good reflector of heat. Make holes at the upper part of the wall. The hot air can flow out from the house by convection process. So a better ventilation at the end. But you cannot use this term because it's in the questions. Yeah, so you see I give how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, can. Okay, if of course if all the reason correct, also you will get max 10 marks lah. But then what means is sometimes you don't know one mark. Okay, your point 3 is not the correct one. So end up you still can get full marks because you give more. Now, as long as your answer is not contrast, you give more is acceptable. But normally, if they are not really related, then they won't minus your mark. They will only not give you marks provided you give 2 answer which are contrast. Like you say large size of window, then suddenly at the end here you say the window small size of window. So it's like 2 answer ma. So even though by right this is a correct answer, right, this is not accept because this 2 is contrast. So only this criteria, or then you cannot get the marks. Okay, so I hope that you have a better idea on how to answer all these type of questions lah. Yeah, so that's it for today. This Negeri Sembilan paper. So I will see you all again in other state paper. Thank you. Bye bye everyone.